Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is August 26th, and here we're looking at a wide view of the Pacific Northwest. We got British Columbia, Washington, and Oregon. Check out our next storm system. It is already spreading clouds across British Columbia. You'll probably see some of those clouds streaming here, if you don't already, across western Washington and eventually Oregon. I might actually go out there and look at some lenticular cloud activity. Hopefully it can get a little bit of something done here before the frontal system moves in. You can also see this cutoff low. We're going to talk a little bit about this little guy out here, but the main story right now is this frontal system is going to be driving down across the area as we go through the day today. So let's dive into some of those details, taking a look at the visible satellite imagery. Let's back this all the way up. It goes to infrared at night, but you can see yesterday, not a bad day out there. Had some sunshine, some clouds across the higher terrain, but a pretty nice day overall. Although western British Columbia, a lot of areas didn't break out from a lot of that cloud activity here, as you can see the next system approaching. So we go through the overnight hours here, and now we're looking for lightning strikes as well. You can see lightning out across extreme portions, eastern portions of Idaho and into southwest Montana. But if we look out over the Pacific Ocean, we're trying to see if there's any lightning strikes showing up here. And you can see as we go through this morning, there we go. Some lightning strikes right here in this frontal system that is approaching the Washington coast as we speak right now, and they continue to go. You can actually see a nice little line of convection here and a lightning strike right off the Washington coast here. So this is going to be some potential as we go through the day today. You could get a lightning strike or two, a couple thunderstorms moving through the area. They should be fairly progressive here. This isn't going to hang out for long, but again, eyes on the sky today. It looks nice and sunny across the Seattle and the Portland metro, much of the Willamette Valley in southwest Washington, dealing with a lot of sunshine. You're out across the backcountry here, across the higher terrain, the Cascades. You wouldn't know it. You just see some high clouds off in the distance here. You can see Mount Rainier here on the GOES 18 satellite imagery. But these clouds, as you can see, are quickly streaming inbound. So heads up, you guys, because the weather is going to be changing as we go through the day today. I wanted to show you the tempest weather stations here. So we had a pretty violent downsloping wind event with the passage of the tropical storm and the hurricane that moved south of the Big Island. So I selected some of these stations out there, and look at this jump in the winds that the tempest station recorded. So if you want to have one of these weather stations on your place of residence, click on that link down below. I highly recommend this weather station. You can really see how it caught those winds that ramped up. And also, this is where some of my family lives out here across the Big Island, Volcano and Mountain View, and this station here, and check it out. The highest reading you can get on the tempest station on the haptic rain gauge, extreme rainfall totals. They're just completely blasting western portions of the Big Island. So if you want one of those stations, click on that link down below to save 10% off. So the Severe Prediction Center does not have that thunderstorm threat here for the Pacific Northwest. They probably should have something clipping western Washington, and of course that would include British Columbia also, but they do not have that up. So let's see if we can outsmart the Severe Prediction Center. And this is day 2, nothing for the Pacific Northwest, just way out towards Great Falls. Now looking at Seattle, 73 yesterday. Again, not a bad day, a little bit below normal temperatures here, but we have done well precipitation wise over the last few days. That storm system did deliver. We're above average for the month, and we're going to start to bounce some of these temperatures back at the very end of the month here, but the system is going to cool us down, especially as we go through the day tomorrow. Now, looking at Bellingham as well, 71. The average high this time of year is 72, so nice day to be had out there. And Bellingham is now up over 2 inches for the month of August. So taking a look on the North American model, let's take a look at the progression that it has. This one is hot off the presses, and you can see western BC, the biggest and the lion's share of the precipitation here. It does translate down into the North Cascades of western Washington. Some of the central Cascades not getting some bad amounts as we go through tomorrow morning. And then a little bit of convergent zone activity looks like showing up across some of the central sound back into the Cascades as we go through the day tomorrow. And then that system clears out, and we're going to have a big wind reversal here that I'm going to show you in some of the next slides coming up as we start to turn things offshore and we start to warm up as we go through the end of the week. So looking at the North American model, actual amount of precipitation total, you can see Vancouver Island picking up some big amounts, some of the higher terrain of British Columbia as well, even some of the northern interior and some of the central Cascades not doing too bad. Looks like Seattle could get, a 1/4 of an inch, maybe up towards 1/3 of an inch here. Just barely measurable precip showing up in the NAM here for Portland, but some of the Oregon coastal range getting a couple tenths of an inch, it looks like, maybe even a little bit more for some select locations. But you can see this should not have much precipitation to work with as you get east of the Cascades. So looking at the HRR, the lightning flash density potential, in fact, let's update that. Is the 15Z running? It is. So you can see some of this thunderstorm activity trying to move across the area as we go through the day today. This would be about 5 p.m. We could have a couple thunderstorms continuing across Vancouver Island, maybe the North Washington coast, and even across some of the interior areas. So watch out for that. Eyes on the sky. You're going to see these clouds rushing in where you see the sunshine this morning across a lot of the Seattle metro, again, like I mentioned, and portions of western Oregon and the Cascades, where it's completely, totally clear right now. Those clouds are going to be blasting in with a vengeance. Now, taking a look at the wind speeds, this is just off the surface. Here goes that frontal system swinging down as we go through today and tonight, tomorrow morning. Look at the surge of westerlies coming for the east slopes of the Cascades, through the gorge, straight to Fuca, straight to Georgia here. But watch what happens. I mean, pretty strong westerlies, a little bit northwest orientation there as we go through tomorrow night. And then we reverse the flow completely. Check it out. We start to bring the offshore winds as we go on into the day Thursday. Look at them rushing back out through the gorge, out towards the ocean as we get a bit of a thermal trough here trying to move up the coastline. You can get the big ridge across the area driving those offshore winds as we go towards the end of the week. So we're going to start to warm up a bit with the arrival of those conditions. This is the GFS as well. This is actually hot off the presses running right now as we speak, the 12Z run. And again, nice westerly surge here as we go on in through tomorrow. You can clearly see it, eastern Oregon, Washington as well. And then we start to turn things offshore as we go on in through Thursday. The GFS not quite as robust as what the European was showing, but the pattern change is going to be coming as we go through the end of the week. Now look at the European. This is mean sea level pressure. And if I put this into motion, you can see that system swing by. There it goes. These systems often don't have a great surface presence as we go through this time of year. They're not that well developed of mid-latitude cyclones. This kind of swings this low pressure system by. But then you can see this little bit of a thermal trough coming up the coastline as we get the ridge building up over the area. And that's what's going to help bring those offshore winds as we go on in through Thursday coming up. So now taking a look at daily 2-meter max temperatures, check out the big contrast like for places of Vancouver Island, Southwest BC, and some of Southwest BC. You know, warm up a bit here as we go through this afternoon, and then that's going to kind of crash down. So we'll peak here, maybe even a little bit above average for some areas. Check out the Willamette Valley, some mid and upper 80s possible. But then look at tomorrow. Cool down is on its way. I'm scrolling back and forth, toggling between Monday and Tuesday, shown here. And then Wednesday, we start to return the temperatures back up. Thursday, look at this, some 90s returning for the Willamette Valley here, and potentially warmer even than this, I think, maybe across western Washington for Thursday. And there's Friday the 30th. Check it out. Some lower to mid 90s across the Willamette Valley there. And look at this, 81 up into Southwest BC. So summer making a little bit of a return here. And then Saturday, probably the warmest day, at least in the short term. As you can see, western Washington, probably some 80s coming back here as well. So yeah, something to look forward to, those of you guys who love a little bit of a warm-up. But, you know, we got to go through this system here first. So taking a look here, I want to show you the cutoff low. This is the European last night, and you can see it's kind of being dropped off by the system here. And there it goes, just spinning off our coastline. You can see our system moving through as we go towards tomorrow. And this thing's just completely lost. That's why we call it a cutoff low. It's cut off from the westerlies off to the north here across the North Pacific Ocean. It eventually starts to get caught back up a little bit. And this could bring some convection across Northern California up into Oregon as of right now. And you never know, if things line up right, it could bring some even further north into Washington. We got to watch these little cutoff lows here at this time of year, because you can kind of see the negative tilt out ahead of it. It could bring some of that you know, unstable conditions here across the region. And if we take a look here, this is another way to look at it. We're looking at 500 millibars, 18,000 feet, cyclonic relative vorticity. Put that into motion, you can kind of see just bobbing and weaving, just lost. It was abandoned by its parents out there across the Pacific Ocean, and there it ends up at the end of the European model run. So looking at the average minute temperature this month, so you can see well above average for much of the Pacific Northwest. However, on the flip side, the average high maximum temperatures here are below average for much of western Washington, western Oregon, and even significantly so for some select locations. A little bit warmer here east of the Cascades and for portions of Idaho, however, and that goes through yesterday the 25th. And then you look at the mean here, and we've definitely calmed things down. We were significantly above across a lot of the region here, but we've leveled things out quite a bit as we've gone on through August 25th. And then you could take a look at the GFS here. This is for today, then Tuesday, Wednesday. We start to warm things back up for the last 3 days of the month. Maybe some 80s returning here as we go through next weekend. Maybe a nice weekend coming up here. And then extended forecast, take that with a grain of salt. Here's the 6 to 10 day above average for much of the West Coast. Goes through September 4th. 6 to 10 day precipitation. I don't know if this is because the upper level low or not. We'll see how that ends up turning out. And there's the 8 to 14 day that goes through September 8th. And the 8 to 14 14-day precipitation as well. And I've showed this the last 2 days. I'll show it one more time here. You can see we do have some drought removal likely in the green, and the tan shows improvement, but drought continues to remain. But yeah, this is good news for Washington, Oregon. Hopefully we can get rid of some of these drought conditions here, and this goes all the way through November 30th. This was released about, what, 11 days ago now. And the channel's doing well. Check it out. We're up over 70,000 subscribers. Maybe if things get crazy and we get some windstorm action here and we get some, maybe some November snowfall, or maybe December snowfall, who knows, or some atmospheric river action, maybe we can get up towards 100,000 before the end of the year. Wouldn't that be a goal? But anyway, yeah, again, without you guys checking back daily, this channel is not possible. Thanks to all my people who support the channel monetarily as well. So again, click like and subscribe if you haven't. We'll do this all again tomorrow. We'll break this all down. We'll see what's coming, and I will talk to you guys then.